There you go.
All right, you want to talk Nakato at 62 points or Dan Hollins at 87 points?
Welcome to the Rugby Rant podcast show, your premier North American rugby podcast, growing rugby one fan at a time.
And welcome, Rugby Rant fans. It's episode 116, baby. I'm very excited. It's the big guy, Scott Ferrara, with Rob, the Hammerschmidt. How you doing, Robbie?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. I'm excited because there seems to be a lot happening in the MLR right now, and I think everybody's salivating. Everybody's ready for more information and news to be trickling out, and we're getting exactly what we want. So I'm excited about that.
Absolutely, and we're going to talk about it next in the Around the Pitch. All right, Rob, I'm handing over to you. What do you guys say?
Oh, let's see. Well, I've been on this college rugby kick for a while because, again, I think moving forward, college rugby's got to fit somewhere in that development pathway and process. We got to find a way to elevate it so we can draw more money in, draw more opportunities for kids to be able to play in college and in some way offset the cost of college. So I always like to push college stuff. And we had the NCR finals for all the women's groups this last weekend. Congratulations to Lindenwood, of course. I think they're back to back champions. So they have like almost as many rings as they have fingers. D1 women's, Michigan. I know Scott was celebrating with that one because Michigan beat Notre Dame College. You had D2 University of Wisconsin Eau Claire over Marquette. Two Wisconsin teams there. And then had to travel down to Houston, by the way, to make that happen. And then small college women's Endicott over Lee University. And then, of course, we have the men's championships this coming weekend, Queens versus Brown in D1 and Louisville. Congratulations, Emil. I know you're out there going to be watching that. Louisville versus Vatek. And then we will find out who's in the finals on Saturday, who's in the finals on Sunday for D2, D3, and small colleges.
Awesome. I love that. Love that update. We're getting all the D2, D3 small colleges championships going. Love to see it. So I'm actually going to take a little tear coming out of my eye. It's recently been brought to our attention that Andrew Duratalo is hanging up his boots. It's always bittersweet when a rugby player hangs up their boots. I'm sure he has things he wants to do outside of rugby. It was great to watch him play. We're talking about his career spanning from Fiji under 19s and under 20s, USA 15s, USA 7s, the Sunwolves, Ealing Trailfinders, Worcester Warriors, playing in the varsity in Oxford with Nick Trivetta, Seattle Seawolves being a champion there, and also an Olympian. Andrew, we wish you farewell and following seas on your rugby career. Congratulations on retirement, brother.
Yeah, well earned. I mean, think about that CV. That's just an amazing list of accomplishments for a rugby player, regardless of what country they reside in and play for. I'm going to pick up with my second Around the Pitch in a departure from in the last couple of seasons where we had this one day where it was an explosion of kitmas where we got to just oogle and ah over all the jerseys and short combinations and put it all together and look at it and pick it apart and complain and celebrate or whatever. Doesn't look like we're going to get that this year. We just saw, I think a day or two ago, Seattle, from when we recorded on Monday night, Seattle rolled out their home and away kit, and their home kit, by the way, is available for order immediately. I think their away is, in fact, a pre-order. And then Utah, as of today's recording, Monday night, Utah rolled out their three kits. And that would be the home, the away, and the alternate. That's kind of cool. And the alternate has some white splashed in there and gray, and it looks freaking hot. So congratulations. Nice job, Sparksy. Thanks for sharing it with us. And let's see if we get kind of a trickle of Kitmas spread out. It's almost like Kitmas has become Hanukkah, right? So it's not just one day of explosion of presents. We get a series of days, and we'll take that.
Listen, I'll definitely take that. I'm sure we're going to wait a little bit to see what happens with all of the kits coming out in Hanukkah Kitmas. We'll have to cross it over before we really dive into it. But I have to say, so far, Seattle and Utah coming out with their kits
strong leads,
really good.
And I just wanted to add on that note, those fans who are watching, who are new, or who are shifted to become Hounds fans, great. Thanks for watching. Awesome. Check out the fan page. But all you guys should not expect. I just wouldn't expect Paladin wear to be out before Christmas. I would be shocked if it's here and ready for the season. Rugby kit is so hard to get, made and produced in a reasonable amount of time. It takes 3 to 3.5 months to get kit. I just ordered some stuff at the beginning of November, and it's not going to be ready till March.
Hey, listen, as long as you're getting the product on the field, that's all that matters. And talking about product on the field, I want to talk about men's and women's sevens in Dubai. We had the women's team coming off a bronze medal finish in Dubai. Great result. We talked about disappointing on the 15 side, on the men's side of 15s at least. And we're seeing the men's and the women's and sevens starting to kind of get there. The men's taking home fourth in a valiant effort. They did go undefeated in pool play, got to that bronze medal match and just couldn't finish. And shout out to Kristen Thomas. She participated in her 33rd World Sevens tournament for the United States. That's crazy. She's done 33 legs of the friggin' tournament. But you know what? That's the kind of thing we want to see, right? Cheta Emba, 23 legs. Nia Tapper finishing her 26th leg. So I mean, we have the experience there, and it's showing with medaling in Dubai. The men's and the women's are all set up for Cape Town coming up this weekend. So check it out. They'll be on the HSBC website, and you'll see them playing rugby. Check them out on Peacock.
I wonder if Ty's going to be there. I mean, for those who don't know,
I wonder as well. That's something we got to
make his way down to South Africa for family reasons. And
I think
personal shout out from Scott and I to Ty. We hope you're well. We hope your family's well. And sending good wishes through you during a difficult time.
Absolutely. I second that. We love you, buddy. And before we get to the rant, we're going to take a quick word from our sponsors.
Tighthead Brewing Company is not just Chicago's premier location to watch rugby and enjoy quality ales and lagers. It is also a great place to enjoy local acts performing live music every Thursday and Saturday nights. Additionally, their Wednesday night trivia nights are something not to be missed. Tighthead is located in Mundelein, Illinois, and easily accessible for many Chicagoans, as it is just steps away from the metro. Owner Bruce Durr and the Tighthead staff are dedicated to ensure your microbrew experience is as tight as their beers. Bruce's love for rugby extends beyond the origin of his brewery's name. Tighthead is committed to supporting the rugby community. This includes his support for Lake County RFC and our own Rugby Rant podcast show. Tighthead's tap room is like the familiar rugby clubhouse in which friends and teammates can meet, socialize, and enjoy the wide variety of brews on tap. Regardless of whether your palate enjoys a good IPA or a dark barrel-aged brew, Tighthead can deliver. Hey, Chicago, when you want rugby, Tighthead Brewing Company will satisfy your thirst. Tighthead, it's worth more than a try.
And welcome back, Rugby Rant fans. Again, we got the big guy. We got Rob the Hammer Schmidt. And I think for the first time in season 4, is it? I mean, I don't realize. Dougie hasn't been on in a long time. Listen, schedules, kids. It's the summertime. We go on hiatus.
I've been ignoring your texts, so
yeah. I literally. So I've been hitting Dougie up, and I'm just like, I guess he's just mad at me. And then he hits me up on WhatsApp and is like, by the way, all those messages you sent me, I just got them now. That was last week.
Something's up with my messenger, but we'll get it sorted out. But that's okay. It's good to be here, guys.
We got Doug Wilkey from Arrows Up, the fan club, and we always appreciate him coming on here. Dougie, thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, no, great. It's good to be back on, fellas. It's good to see you again, and can't wait for this season.
Oh man, so exciting. We're seeing signings coming out every day. We're seeing teams tweet eye emojis, and then all of a sudden a kit gets released. We're seeing Seattle steal Rooney's third color scheme with the black and whites. Listen, I understand it's an orca color, but like Rooney had the black and whites.
And
I saw that.
Look at that.
Got in the mail, Hammer just gets his reversible NOLA bucket hat.
Listen, we were just talking about this. Somebody questioned.
Courtesy of Jessica Falcon Pastrana. Thank you very much, Jess. Love you.
Tonight, as you're watching this, at this moment, Rob is being questioned by Phil Harrison of the New England Free Jacks on where his allegiance lies. And like Rob has always said, if you send him swag, he will come. And this is NOLA. This is NOLA certifying his fandom in swag.
That's right. That's how they bought me. It doesn't look very good on this side, though. I don't know. It's all funky.
Yeah, you'll get it right. You'll get it in the wash. You'll be fine. But on this rant, it's one of those rants we've had. I'll say perennially. Usually we have it closer to when the schedule drops. But we had so many moving parts with the Women's World Cup going on in October, and the men's still trying to qualify. Sad face.
Yeah.
For me and Rob and Doug. So we kind of are now hitting the 2023 schedule with Chicago on it, even though there's still some to be determined matches. We know what weeks they're going to be in. We know who the opponents are. They're just trying to solidify their times at SeatGeek. So what we're going to
listen, before we get into that, I just got to tell you, I don't know how many, it's been great because since Chicago's been announced, everybody's going to, dude, if we're traveling to Chicago, I'm going to be there. And now that the schedule has been released, like everybody's hitting me up. And I got to tell the fans, like, we're planning on it May 12th. I think the big guy's coming in. I think Tyrone is coming in from Iowa. And they're going to be bunking at my house, mi casa, su casa. And we're going to have a great time. It should be a lot of fun when the Hounds play Rooney. So everybody's been hitting me up. Matt Cartwright been hitting me up. I'm going to hit Dougie up because, I'll bust it up there to Toronto, I think, during the summer. And it's going to be a lot of fun, man. It's going to be
when the three of you guys get together, ESPN Films needs to we need to document this weekend. Okay. We need it right from the beginning, getting off the plane or the car or whatever. I want a whole weekend.
The chest cam, both of them wear it. We'll all wear a chest cam.
Listen, we got to hit up our buddy Gift because he had that whole thing where he was biking through South Asia to get to the 2029, the 2018 World Cup in Japan, and Gift had a whole series of him and his buddy biking through Southeast Asia to get there. So we have the hookup. He knows how to do those type of documentaries. Unfortunately, I think he moved to Colombia, so getting the actual stuff from him might be tough. But shout out to Gift. He put that special back out on his website for a low price. It was a great special to see. Great memories from him and just seeing how rugby fans around the world help each other and react to each other when they meet. And speaking of that, we're going to go through the schedule, man. It's MLR schedule 2023. It's I don't know if this is necessarily going to be a rant because, there's not that much we could really
debate,
clash on, but we are going to talk we are going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. So
this ball represents the game we love. A game fueled by passion. But there are those who wear no number, nor are they in the locker room or the field of play. But they are there for every high and every low. Yes, they are watching every kick, tackle, and try scored. Yes, they are there for when you need them most, because they are the Major League Rugby fans. And the time has come for you to stand with your team. Join us at shopmlr.com today.
What I want now is we're going to hand it off to Dougie. He's going to get his turn to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly with the 2023 MLR schedule.
All right. So I'm going to take this from a little bit of an Arrows perspective, seeing as that's the team I follow, and maybe, treat some of those people up here in Canada. Obviously, the first game of the season for the Arrows against Atlanta, the Fire and Ice Cup right off the bat. So the Fire and Ice Cup, the winning team who holds the cup, the first game that they play at that home stadium is the Fire and Ice Cup, and it happens to be the very first game of the season for the Arrows this year. So looking forward to that. Obviously, looking forward to February 18th, New York, Seattle, the rematch of the final. And then me personally, there's two I'm really looking forward to. The first one is New England coming up to Toronto. I think New England's kind of like like Seattle back in the day when Seattle had all the Canadians on the team. New England's kind of shifting that way now, and they've signed a lot of Canadians recently: Lesage, Keys, Cole Keith, Andrew Quattrin, and really looking forward to those guys coming up and playing in Canada, and hopefully we beat the crap out of them. And then the last one that's really close to my heart is going to being able to go to Chicago. Hopefully, I would have gone to a game in New York, but the schedule never lined up. But this year, the game Toronto playing in Chicago is right at the start of my spring break, so it's going to be perfect for me to travel down for the weekend and meet Rob and check out what Chicago has to offer. I've never been there. Really looking forward to it. One of the bad things. That was my good, I guess. One of the bad things, just this whole Chicago and the Western Conference thing, it irks me. I don't know. But I mean, obviously the balance of the whole league is much better now with having the equal amount of teams. And I think that works for the whole scheduling process. But it will be interesting if we get a couple more teams in there and we can move Chicago to the east side. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that. I'll leave some stuff for you guys, and I'm sure we'll talk more after.
I think in this show, everybody's highlight is going to be their Chicago match against their friends to go see them. I got to be honest, Doug, what the kids need to learn in February, just take the Monday off and come down to New York for the match, bro. Like, I don't like teachers. Putting they can watch Saving Private Ryan or something, and you'll be fine. Come down to New York. But I think
we don't do that in the history department.
I'm in phys ed now, so I can just put on a workout video or something.
There you go.
Dude, have him Billy Blanks do the Thai bow. Shoot, that's what we used to do.
You could do yoga remotely.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh man, but I think everybody's big one is going to be an away trip to Chicago. For international fans watching, Chicago is the Midwestern hub for a lot of commuter flights. For example, just from New York, there's a flight to O'Hare from LaGuardia, I think every 40 minutes, Monday to Saturday. The reason I know that is I went to watch a Green Bay playoff game at Lambeau, and we flew into O'Hare, and my buddy who had all the tickets and the rental information missed the flight. So luckily, when I got off my flight, there was a text message from him. He said, "I'm 40 minutes behind you because there's a flight every 40 minutes." Nice. So it's easy to get to SeatGeek Stadium. Be advised at this juncture, we don't know if they have any type of private busing, but according to Rob and several others, you'll need your car. They don't have great public access to public transportation. So just be wary for away fans, get your Uber apps updated. And
you could jump in the Hammerschmidt minivan.
Have you been spying on me, Dougie? How did you know I had a minivan? Listen, no, they can jump in the Ram. I got a covered bed, so I've got a moving blanket back there. They can lay down and
me and Ty can snuggle.
You guys can
but
yeah. So yeah, no, but by the way, while you're on the topic, Chicago, all of what Scott has said is true. 10 minutes from Midway. So if anybody's coming to Chicago, hit Midway. Make reservations if you think you're going to be coming in. There's a Hampton Inn right on site, like literally at the edge of the parking lot. It would take you 1 to 2 minutes to walk across the parking lot. You won't even have to get in your car, rental, or whatever you're doing. You walk right across. You can Uber to the place, to the hotel, and then walk right across. And there's a couple of restaurants right there in sight. Probably find some people to party with and hang out with and get back to the hotel somehow.
And I got to be honest, if the away, sorry to interrupt, if the away teams aren't using that hotel, they're very, very stupid. So most likely you'll be in the hotel with the team you're supporting. So that's always a fun prospect, especially if you catch them on a winning week. to have fun with their social. But I think you're right, Doug. I think, having those matches you called out are great. They're going to be great matches. I can't wait. Man, I have so many thoughts, but I'm going to kick it over to Rob because I want to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, so sticking with the good, bad, and the ugly, it was easy for me to find good and bad. I had a little bit of trouble with ugly. Well, no, I checked that. I've got a good ugly. All right, so what's my good? Balance. Doug mentioned it, 12 teams. It makes it real easy to create a schedule so you don't have, wonky bye weeks, and you don't have teams with just some, challenges in terms of scheduling. I will say that it's real nice because you have weeks 4 through week 6. You have bye week start. So you really have nobody that gets, I think Chicago is an early second week bye or third week bye, but you don't have anybody that's getting like week 1, they're getting a bye. I think that happened to Toronto a couple of years ago. And it's like, I get it because of the weather, but on the same token too, it's, then it makes for the rest of the schedule to be, it makes it rather difficult. I also like, the fact that they have weeks 11 and 12. There's teams with 4 matches, but the good thing is about the schedule, weeks 16, 17, and 18, everybody's playing. In past years, we had teams that, like, I think Rooney last year or the year before had week 18, they didn't play. And it might've been in 2021. And it's like, you want every team playing going to that home stretch, right? Because that makes for exciting things to happen on the table, right? Every game means something. Every game has consequences in terms of the playoff, situation. What's my bad? San Diego I think if I'm reading it correctly, I may have made an error because my printer cut out, but week 6 and 8, am I correct that they have a bye week 6 and week 8? Or did I make a mistake on that? Correct me if I'm wrong, gents, because, again, my printer.
No, they're definitely playing week 8. They're playing Seattle.
Okay.
And then week 6, they do have a bye week 6, but week 8, they are playing Seattle. So their bye week seems to be week 6. And give me a second. San Diego, and week 14 for San Diego. Okay. Week 6 and 14. Right. So they look like to be spread out just about everybody else. As a matter of fact, that's the same for Rooney. So I think they've matched to a Western Conference team and an Eastern Conference team to have those breaks.
Yeah. So let me get to my ugly real quick. Look at the early season matches in Chicago, in New York, and in New England. Like, Scott loves the cold weather, right? But he's got insulation, right? I don't. And from March 4th as the opening weekend in Chicago, in New York, it's February 26th, Burr. And in New England, it's March 11th. Oh boy. Right. So there could be some pretty nasty weather there. So we'll see what happens. But I am celebrating the fact that the Hounds have a match on, March 18th, which is just on St. Patrick's Day weekend. That should be cool. I think they asked for it, as a matter of fact. To be honest, I think that's one of the weekends they wanted.
I got to be honest. I know Rooney has linked, usually has linked their home match starting that weekend. And that was back when they had the big Irish connection with the previous owners, and it's worked out for them. And just when I thought we wouldn't rant and clash about something, called me fat. That's
That's not what I said.
You invite me into your home.
Insulated. I know that you have a plethora of coats in your closet that you're gonna, wear to the match.
You give me your pickup truck bed to sleep in at night with a sleeping bag, and then you call me fat. Secondly, your ugly is the start time, and that's my good. My good is the fact that we're having East Coast teams start earlier and earlier. One of the best games last year that Rooney played in that I was a spectator at was against San Diego early on, where Mother Nature didn't know what she was doing with herself, and she was snowing, she was raining, then it was sunny, then it was snowing and sunny, then it was raining again, and that makes for some fun action. One of the best matches I've ever been to, and it was a Rooney loss. was the thunder and pouring in when New England played their last match not in Fort Quincy in their old I forgot where it is. Sorry, forgive me. Where there's a great infamous picture of the big guy just drenched in a short sleeve shirt, shorts, flip flops. It's pouring and it's only about 37 degrees. So those are the types of games we live for. That's the good thing. We're talking about OGs starting week 1 at home. We're talking about, Seattle starting week 1 at home in the rematch against Rooney. We're talking about week 2, Rooney having a home match, Utah having a home match, Seattle having another home match. Week 3.
The schedule is pushed 2 weeks, right? 2. So, I mean.
No.
Maybe the 5th.
1 week. 1 week. I think.
Yeah, it started like around the 9th or 10th last year or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was the 5th.
Really? It might have been that early, but I think that might have been an overreaction to 2021, with having to push it back an entire month to see where they're at. But that also included Rooney playing 4 straight away matches again. So I think they're better off. Now I'm going with the bad. The bad I have is the way some of these bye weeks broke out. I mean, I see where they're going with them, and I think this is just I'm calling it the bad. But as we know, between last season an odd number of teams and the season before that an odd number of teams and all the stuff they're trying to do, I just think we can break up the bye weeks a little more evenly. But even if you look at the NFL, some teams have their bye week 4. Week 4 starts the bye week, and some teams have their bye week 12. So I mean, I think we might just run into that, but I'm just going to kind of nick that as my bad. I would say the ugly is the last 2 weeks of the schedule, and here's why. I feel there's too many teams that are mixed. For example, week 17, Houston's playing OGs. That's an East versus the West. Dallas is playing NOLA in East versus the West. Toronto is playing San Diego in East versus the West. Seattle's playing New England in East versus the West. Then the last week of the season, New England's playing Houston in East versus the West. New York's playing Utah in East versus the West. So like last year when we had New York versus New England, and it was who's going to win this game and be the big daddy. Right. We're not going to see that. I mean, we're not going to. Not that we're not going to see it, because we're not going to see those teams play each other and clash to try and beat each other out for that. And
you're right.
In the last couple of years, I agree. I think it was 2021 in particular. You had like in the last 3 weeks, you had these inter conference rivalries happening that had huge consequences, for the playoff picture. And it made, again, for excitement, it made, in my case, for heartbreak, but nevertheless, it did make for an exciting end of the season because a lot of implications there and a lot of things could change over.
Absolutely. 2021, that last match, Rooney versus NOLA, NOLA was going for an aggregate, a number of points to try and solidify their spot. Last year, even though New England and New York were in, it was what position would New York be in against Atlanta, and what would it be, a home or an away match, and right. That point differential came in handy. So my point being, I'm just thinking, I understand people scheduling's hard. It's just hard. We know it, but I think they should have had some more forethought into having some of these key matchups. Now, don't get me wrong. I love to see, Atlanta and OGs playing, because, that's probably going to be for a playoff spot.
Toronto, NOLA, like San Diego, Seattle.
San Diego, so you have a few.
But you're right.
But we could have exactly. I mean, it could have been Utah versus Houston and New York versus New England, and all of a sudden you kind of have everybody where you need to be. But if that's my only ugly, I'll friggin' take it. Yeah. The other thing, just real quick, I wanted to point out, and I just saw it here. Bear with me because I'm going back and forth. Sunday, May 7th, Rooney versus NOLA. So I'm thinking, Rob, you should come here. Then next week, I should go there.
Yeah, I can't do that.
You guys are school teachers.
No.
You have as many days off as you want.
The
Rob,
little hammer, the little hammer is graduating from college that weekend
on Saturday. So as soon as he shakes the hand,
there ain't no way in hell.
Paper,
no
get on a
way
plane,
in hell
with a little
no
hammer.
way in hell that I'm getting away from to New York that weekend. Ain't a shot, not a chance. No way, no how.
Let's see. I'm going to say Rooney's match is until probably 2 or 3 o'clock. I'm going to say you can make it. You hop on the plane, 5 a.m.
Dreaming.
I'll pick you up at LaGuardia.
Mrs. Hammer is nice, but she's not that nice.
What Mrs. Hammer don't know won't hurt her. Just do
it, she knows when her son is graduating. That's what she do know.
Listen, what's more important? Let's be honest. He's graduating. You have a college degree. It's already been done in the Hammerschmidt family. Come on. I'm just knocking Hammer. I'm busting his balls. It's congratulations to little Hammer on that day. Trust me, it's a big accomplishment. I know it. But yeah. I mean, again, I think I don't know. I think my ugly is the ugliest out of all the uglies right now. But if that's the ugliest out of all the uglies, I think we have a good schedule this year. Like, it's very hard to complain about it.
I got to say, I'm going to take and put my Noel hat on for a minute. There it is. And I'm just glad to see Noel has a perfectly positioned bye weeks, week 8, right in the middle of the season. And then week, I believe it is, 13? Nope. Week 15, right before that home stretch of 3 games that leads to the end of the season. So we're set up for playoff contention.
Listen, it's good. I mean, I think Rooney has a good set of bye weeks too. I believe it's the same as San Diego. We said week 6 and week 14, which is where you want them to. They're kind of centralized. It'll help you out if you have injuries, attrition. Last year, Rooney, had Troy Lockyer out for the season, Pago Heine out for the season. Andrew Coe missed with a leg injury and then missed with a head knock. Ed Fidel missed the last 2 games of the season. And luckily they got to call reinforcements, but Andrew Coe coming back and being, that guy he is, really helped Rooney win that shield. I got to be quite honest. He was starting over Waisaki Naholo and Nihi Miller-Skelny. So, I mean, think about that shit. But yeah, I think perfectly placed. I'm disappointed I can't get up to Toronto. I got my new friggin' enhanced license, but I'm trying to go to Chicago. I got to be honest, Atlanta's another one on my list that I think is doable for me. So I don't think Toronto is going to be doable, but maybe I could talk Mrs. Big Guy into it.
Come on up. You got a place to stay.
I might be able to. So we'll see. It's a ride for me.
One bad I want to add in is, unfortunately, we're not going to LA and Austin this year. I feel so bad for those guys, and I have family that live not too far from where LA was playing there, and I would have loved to have gone to a game there, but it is what it is.
Yeah. What now, Doug? How, in your eyes, how do you see the Aero schedule? Like it? Hate it?
Yeah.
What do you got?
No, I like it. I mean, it's fairly balanced. Everybody's playing everybody in the East. So, what can you say? We played.
I do want to say, talking about Austin, though, talking about leaving Austin, Battle of Texas, week 1. That first match, Dallas versus Houston in Dallas. That's a big one for Texas, considering Austin's no longer in it. So the question is, will they go for the Lone Star Cup? Because last year Dallas decided that they didn't want to participate. Right. So I wonder what's going to happen this year with those trophies. Same thing. No Champagne Cup for Rooney and LA. So what are we going to do? We got to figure some stuff out. Now Rooney and New England still play for the Chowder Cup. So what are we going to call the Toronto New York match? That's the question. I wonder.
Doug is absolutely frozen right now. He is so stunned by your question, he doesn't even know what to say.
You got out at the last minute. Were you asking me a question?
All right. Somebody called the school he works at, and we need to get him drug tested. I was saying we have the Champagne Cup, which Rooney and LA are no longer playing for. We have the Chowder Cup, which is New England Rooney. What are we going to call the Toronto Arrows Rooney match? What's it called? We need a name for it.
That's a tough one. But I love those games. They're always tough games. I'm not looking for. I never look forward to when Toronto plays New York. I don't know.
I'm thinking Battle for Buffalo.
They're both the biggest cities in their respective country. Yeah. The Battle of the Big Smoke.
I like that one. The Battle of the Big Smoke. The Battle of the Poutine Cup.
The Poutine Cup. I like that. A strong entry right there, coming in hard with that one.
I think we'll do. I think we're gonna go with Poutine Cup. I really like it.
So just on that note, I've really been giving this actually a lot of consideration, and now that Chicago has a team, I'm actually thinking about sponsoring a trophy myself called the Hammer Cup, and it will be between NOLA and Chicago. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to talk Mrs. Hammer into letting me buy an expensive trophy for the guys to drink beer out of.
You mean an expensive trophy? Just take a hammer and glue it to a board.
Oh, well, it's funny because we have the Hammer Award, which is not named after me, on the wrestling team that I coach. And that's what I did. I took a sledgehammer, I painted it gold, I mounted it to a piece of wood round that's, stained a blue stain, and I put gold, lettering on there called the Hammer Award. But
that's awesome.
I might have to do that maybe.
That's perfect. So before we go, I'm going to go around the horn. Just give me a one standout match that has nothing to do with your team. We're going to start with the Hammer. Go.
Oh, well, does it count? I kind of have two teams. I mean, that makes it kind of hard, but no. I tell you what, Seattle has a tough go of it because I believe there's a stretch there where they have to travel from coast to coast 2 weeks in a row. I think they go, maybe it's New York, and then they go down back to someplace in the East Coast, whether it's, close to NOLA or whatnot. And I have to look again to see when that is, but they have a tough stretch. And it'll be interesting to see how they come out of that.
They're going from Chicago to NOLA and then back to home field.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah. So that's tough travel right there to be interested to see how they come out. And quite frankly, the Hounds have like a 4-week stretch or 5-week stretch of home games out of the first 7 weeks, I think, which is,
yes.
And they have 4 of them in a row, I think. Right.
Yes, they do. It's week 3, week 4,
week 4, week 5, and week
5,
6.
week 6, and week 7.
Considering the weather.
And week 7.
Yeah, but and it's interesting. If you look at, they play Utah, which Utah's probably used to the weather. They play Toronto. Toronto's used to the weather. They play the Jackals. Now they're the Jackals. Sorry, Rick Collins. Seattle might have, it might be tough for them to deal with it. And then I don't know if it gives them an advantage, but having 4 home games in that stretch is pretty nice.
Yeah, but you're going to see, like, one of my issues with the Arrows in the past has been having those string of home games at home. It's great. It's probably great for the team, but as a fan, being able to set aside 5 or 6 straight weekends to go to a game, it can be tough. I know. I do it. I do it anyways. Right. I'm just saying.
So since Dougie's bitching, what's your one thing that's not related to your team?
I'm looking forward to seeing StubHub's open up on March 4th, Utah at Chicago. It's I'm looking forward to seeing what that stadium's like and what they put together for that team.
Yeah, speaking of stadiums, Snapdragon. How about Snapdragon? Supposed to be incredible.
That's true. It's for friggin' San Diego. It looks awesome. Speaking of San Diego, their season tickets are out now. I know the cohort already. I forgot what section they picked. Sorry. Marcus Holt put a whole big thing about it with the cohort. If you want to sit with the cohort, go check out their website for tickets and their season tickets at Snapdragon. So my thing, I'm actually going to be talking about the Arrows. The Arrows, those tough, so hard. 3 weeks in a row, 16, 17, and 18. The last 3 weeks of the season, the Toronto Arrows are at home. That gives them a unique advantage going into that playoff run, which they seem to always be in. So I would be on the lookout for that. They play Houston at home, then San Diego at home, and then they play NOLA at home. And so 2 of them are West Coast teams traveling cross country into a new country to play Toronto. I wonder what's going to happen with those matches. Guys, I think we thoroughly picked apart this schedule. And like I said previously, not a lot of surprises in the schedule. It was even. Everybody has the good bye weeks. Relatively, minimal, I think, adjustments would need to be made. I sure enjoyed it, but I think this was a good rant. I think this is one of those episodes I really have fun with. I love doing this stuff because I'm an accountant and I'm just weird like that. But I really love it. But fans, thank you so much for watching. Again, Doug Wilkey is here with us. Go check out the Arrows Up Facebook page, which is the home of the Toronto Arrows fan group. Him, Gaz, the Jet Brissett, all those fun Arrows fans we love to see, including Dougie. And before we go, Dougie, is there anybody want to shout out real quick?
Yeah, James Dealey just came on the Arrows Up page to be another moderator, so that's awesome to have him. He's deeply involved in the stats, the stat man, as everybody knows. So welcome to him coming into admin.
Speaking of which, how about the flack he got for like having the team of the year or something like that, the All-Star team of the year, with all the guys that got the most votes. And although the image was from just a regular week, everybody's giving him shit because, the images don't match up. And he has to apologize, right? Here's a guy who's volunteering his time, who's got all these stats, who's keeping track of trades, who's posting in every place.
He missed one.
And people are jumping his shit, and it's like, really?
He missed a signing on his graphic like 4 weeks ago, and somebody was really giving him shit, and I jumped in. I'm like, you got a problem, you can get the fuck out. So at MLR Stats on all of James's platforms. He's a great dude, and again, part of the moderator team at Arrows Up. I'm the big guy, Scott Ferrara. That's Rob the Hammer Hammerschmidt. Episode 116 is done and dusted, baby. We'll see you at the next.